Well, I'll tell you an interesting story about the Beatles. When they went to the United States, it was, I believe, 1964, and they went to the United States, and the Americans had seen all these sort of screaming girls and women sort of throwing themselves at them, and they thought, well, let's get these guys over and do like a publicity sort of stunt with in fact it was Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was the heavyweight champion of the world, and they had in fact arranged for the Beatles to sort of go to his gym where he trained, and to do a sort of like a photo shoot, publicity stunt there. So all the four lads went there, hoping to meet the current heavyweight champion of the world, and when they got there, Sonny Liston's handler said, Mr. Champ, look, we've got the famous Beatles come over all the way from England to see you. And he said, who are they?
Well said, Mr. Sonny Liston.
Sonny Liston sort of refused to, in fact, give them the time of the day. And so they were there sort of twiddling their thumbs and thinking, what should we do now? And in comes Muhammad Ali, who had heard of this, fobbing off by Sonny Liston. And in fact, he said, well, why don't you come over to my gym? And they did. And that's where you may have seen those famous, iconic photos of the Beatles and in the ring with Muhammad Ali, because he, invited them over. And in that photo shoot was a great success. And there you have an example of how, Muhammad Ali using his wit and wisdom and, coming into a situation that Sonny Liston had actually objected. And making great success.
Well, the thing with Muhammad Ali, he knew what was going on around the world. He had his finger on the pulse. Muhammad Ali came over to England to fight Henry Cooper, and was a victim of Henry's left hook and put him on the floor. So he knew about the Beatles because they were just becoming famous around about the time, because he had come over to the UK to fight our Henry.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Be the difference. Search Donate Plasma or call 0300 123 2323 today.
Revive FM
94.0. On the radio.
On your mobile.
And online.
No, thank you for staying with us before that. I'm afraid we have to go to breaks, otherwise, without all that sort of sponsorship, we'd collapse. So thank you, thank you for waiting for us while we have. So yes, we were talking about the various artists that you perform songs of, and obviously we discussed Roy Orbison, out of these artists, in terms of their voice range, which artists? I mean, I know we already discussed how difficult it is to sing Roy Orbison songs, but out of the other artists, is there a particular artist that has a sort of vocal range that you're sort of very impressed with? Yeah, I was just asking you that we discussed about Roy Orbison's amazing vocal range. Is there anyone else apart from Roy Orbison that strikes you particularly as having a very sort of skillful vocal range of the early 50s and 60s singers?
Yes, I mean, there are a couple. I mean, Gene Pitney is very hard to do as well. He had a very high-pitched kind of voice. I find that Gene Vincent, who had a beautiful falsetto voice, he sang the million-seller Bebop Alula. Some of these beautiful ballads are very hard to tackle, so you really have to do a lot of warming up just to get to those notes or somewhere near those notes. So Gene Vincent and Gene Pitney, two Genes there. There's a Little Richard, who I stay away from trying to imitate Little Richard in those tones, because there's only one Little Richard, and the same goes for people who, like James Brown, very hard to get that growl, and I find it just ruins my voice for the day. I can't sing after that. So there's two singers that I try not to imitate too much, because it's very difficult to do. But Tom Jones is very hard to do. There's a tremendous range. He goes way up into the stratosphere with his vocals, and but I give them a good go. If someone says you sound something like these artists, that's all that one can do. The vocals belong to somebody else, but if I can do a faithful tribute and tip my hat to the songs that they left behind, or in cases of Cliff Richard, they're still here. But then that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to win any medals or anything like that. I'm my own worst critic anyway. I mean, half the time I can't stand what I do.
Well, I mean, it's an incredible ability. I mean, obviously, I've heard you singing live, and I would encourage any of our listeners to go along and listen to Sal. It's an incredible ability he has, and sometimes I don't think Sal even himself knows how good he is. but you'll soon find out.
You can't tell, but I'm blushing.
Yeah, you'll soon find out. And it's funny actually, because I have invited a couple of my friends to your shows, Sal, and do you know what they said to me after your show? They sort of turned around to me and say, why isn't this guy? Why isn't his name up in billboards? Why isn't he there? Sort of, in lights, sort of thing. Because they've been so impressed by your singing. So hopefully, that will.
That's very kind.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Well,
So
it's very, very kind of the people you've brought over the years, and very kind of people who see my shows. I'm much of a live performer. I'm not used to be stuck indoors singing in front of just a microphone in the studio, which is just down the end of the garden there. Yeah. And you feed off the live audience, it gets the adrenaline running, and it keeps you on your toes, because if you hit any bad notes, it's going to it keeps you on your toes when you've got an audience in front of you. So I do try harder when there are people there. But if people like what I do, then just keep coming. I'll keep doing the shows when they return. Probably by the summer, I would imagine, folks.